Good morning, my dear friends. I'm so glad you're here today. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the way we start our morning can shape the entire day? When we begin with peace, purpose, and presence, everything that follows seems to feel just a little more steady, a little more meaningful. In this video, I want to share 10 gentle habits to try before 10 o'clock in the morning. Habits that have brought more joy, energy, and clarity into my life. And I believe they can bring the same to yours. This is not about rushing or chasing goals. It's about honoring yourself, listening to what your body and spirit need, and starting each day with intention. So take a deep breath, settle in. Whether you're enjoying your coffee, easing into the morning, or simply looking for a soft place to land, this moment is for you. 1. Begin the night before. A good morning actually starts the night before. It took me years to realize that the peacefulness I craved at sunrise was deeply tied to how I ended the previous day. When we give ourselves the gift of a calm evening, we set the stage for a better tomorrow, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The world today moves fast. News, emails, television, phone notifications, they can all follow us right into bedtime. But our bodies are not designed to jump straight from stimulation to sleep. We need a transition. We need a gentle unwinding. For me, that means beginning to slow things down after 9 o'clock in the evening. The lights get dimmer. I put away my phone. I trade the buzz of television for the soft hum of a calming playlist, maybe something classical or nature sounds. And then, I return to something I loved as a child, a warm cup of herbal tea. No caffeine, just something gentle like chamomile or lavender. It's a signal to my body and my mind. We're done for the day. It's time to rest. I also like to take a few minutes to reflect, not in a heavy way, but more like a soft review. I think about what made me smile that day. I try to release what didn't go so well. Sometimes I'll jot a few notes in a journal or just speak it aloud. There's something healing about putting the day to rest with kindness. One of the best changes I made in my routine was setting a firm bedtime, around 10 o'clock. That simple act helped me wake up more naturally, without feeling groggy or rushed. My sleep became more restful, and in the morning, I began to feel more like myself again. As we get older, sleep can become more fragile. That's not unusual, but we can support it by creating an environment that welcomes rest. A cool room, soft sheets, maybe a familiar scent like lavender or eucalyptus on the pillow. These are small things, but they matter. So if you're looking for a better morning, my first gentle suggestion is this: end your day with care. Treat your evening like a soft landing. Give your mind and your body the permission to slow down. The morning will meet you more kindly because of it. 2. Wake up with grace. Waking up can be a sacred act, especially when we allow it to be gentle. We spend a third of our lives sleeping, and yet, so often, we're told to snap out of bed, hustle, start checking things off a list. But at this stage in life, I've learned something else. The way we wake up matters. It shapes our mood, our body, and our spirit for the rest of the day. For me, the first light of the morning is an invitation, not a command. I don't use alarms unless I absolutely must. Instead, I let natural light or my body's rhythm guide me. It may sound like a small thing, but waking without a blaring beep or buzz helps me enter the day with calm, not stress. I begin with stillness. I lie there for a moment, feeling the weight of the blanket, the breath in my lungs. I stretch gently, not with effort, but like I'm saying good morning to my bones. My shoulders, my back, my legs, they've carried me far, and they deserve kindness at the start of the day. Then I sit up, plant my feet on the floor, and before I even stand, I whisper a quiet thank you. Just a few words. Nothing dramatic, but in that tiny moment, I'm choosing gratitude over complaint. I'm choosing presence. I used to check my phone first thing in the morning. Maybe you do too. But I notice that it pulled me out of my own life and into everyone else's. News, emails, texts, it all came rushing in before I had even had a sip of water. Now I wait. I let myself have space to simply be. Even if it's just 10 minutes, it makes all the difference. Our mornings don't need to be fast or full to be meaningful. They need to be ours. So I invite you to think about how you wake up. Can you make it softer? Can you welcome the day like an old friend instead of a taskmaster? Waking up with grace doesn't mean you need to be perfect. It simply means you begin the day with care. And that, in itself, is a kind of wisdom. 3. Make the bed. Make the mood. Making the bed might seem like such a small thing. It takes only a minute or two. But the impact it can have on your day is surprisingly powerful. For me, it's not just about tidying up. It's a symbol of intention. It's the first way I show myself, yes, I am here. Yes, today matters. There's something satisfying about smoothing out the sheets, fluffing the pillows, and stepping back to admire a space that feels complete. Even when the rest of the house isn't perfect, that one corner of order gives me a sense of peace. It reminds me that I'm in control of how I begin. It also sends a quiet message to my future self. Later in the day, when I walk past my bedroom or return at night, I see that bed and think, someone cared for me this morning. That someone, of course, is me, and that feels good. But here's what I've realized. This small act also shifts my mindset. It tells my brain that I'm capable, that I can follow through. It's not about discipline in the old sense. It's not about being strict. It's about choosing a rhythm that supports how I want to feel. I've talked to many women who say they didn't grow up making their bed, or that it seemed silly once the kids moved out. But the truth is, this isn't about anyone else. It's about you. It's a quiet gift to yourself. And if your body doesn't allow you to do it all, if bending or lifting is hard, that's okay. Even just straightening the covers a little or fluffing one pillow can be enough. The point isn't perfection. The point is participation in your own day. So before you rush off to the next task, consider this gentle habit. Making your bed is not just about the sheets. It's a way to say, this day has value. I have value. And that's a powerful way to begin. 4. Hydrate the body. Gently move it. One of the kindest things we can do for our body each morning is to give it what it quietly craves: water and gentle movement. After hours of sleep, our body wakes up a little dry, a little stiff, and a little unsure. But with just a few simple acts, we can gently coax it back to life. And in doing so, we remind ourselves that we are still capable of caring, still deserving of care. I always start with a glass of water. It might sound too simple to matter, but trust me, it does. I keep it by the bed the night before, so it's the first thing I reach for. That first sip helps flush out the fog of sleep, gets everything moving inside, and sends a soft signal to my brain. We're waking up now. I don't chug it down. I sip slowly, letting my system catch up to the new day. After the water, I stretch, not like an athlete, but like a woman who knows her body has been through many seasons and still needs love in this one. I start small. I roll my shoulders, reach my arms up, gently twist side to side. If I'm lying down, I might pull one knee up to my chest and hold it there for a moment. Sometimes I stand, hold the back of a chair, and roll my ankles or bend my knees just a little. You don't need a yoga mat or a fitness plan. Just listen. Which parts of you feel tight? Where do you feel stuck? A few minutes of slow, kind motion is often enough to shift that energy, You're not trying to work out. You're trying to wake up. And those are two very different things. As we age, movement becomes less about performance and more about preservation. We stretch not to look a certain way, but to feel a certain way, capable, strong, mobile. And we hydrate not for weight loss or metabolism, but because it's a fundamental way of saying, I am alive and I'm supporting my aliveness. So don't underestimate the power of this quiet ritual. A glass of water, a few stretches, that's it. And yet, it's everything. It's the foundation upon which the rest of the day can stand. 5. Step into the morning sun. There's something magical about early morning sunlight. It's softer, warmer, and somehow gentler on the spirit than any other light in the day. For years, I would skip this part. Go straight from bed to kitchen, from kitchen to phone, from phone to the noise of the world. But when I began stepping outside for just a few minutes each morning, everything shifted. You see, our bodies respond to light. Literally. Morning sun helps reset our internal clock, our circadian rhythm, which affects everything from our mood to our sleep quality. Just 10 minutes of natural light in the early part of the day can make it easier to fall asleep at night. But more than that, it feels good. It reminds us that we are part of something larger, something natural. When I open the door and step out, even if it's just onto a small patio or front step, I take a deep breath and let the light touch my face. I listen. Birds, leaves, distant cars, life moving, but not rushing. I don't bring my phone. I bring only myself. Some mornings I sit with my coffee. Some mornings I stand quietly. What matters is being present. Even if it's chilly, I bundle up and go. Even if it's cloudy, I still step out. The ritual matters more than the weather. And if mobility is a concern, even sitting near an open window can offer similar benefits. Just face the light. Let your body absorb what it's made to receive. This tiny practice connects us to the rhythm of nature and to ourselves. For many women I've spoken to, this morning's sunlight has become a cherished moment of reflection, prayer, or quiet gratitude. It's a pause before the pace of the world begins. It's also a way to remember that joy doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just light on your skin and the sound of a bird nearby. Sometimes it's knowing that even after all these years, a sunrise can still stir something new inside you. So tomorrow morning, if you can, step outside. Let the day greet you. Let the sun remind you, you are still here, still radiant, still rising. 6. Sip something warm with intention. There's a quiet kind of beauty in sitting with a warm cup in your hands. Whether it's coffee, tea, or something herbal, that first morning drink can be more than just routine. It can be a ritual. And when we treat it that way, it becomes a moment of connection, calm, and care. I used to rush through this part of my morning. I'd pour the coffee and immediately get moving, making lists in my head, cleaning up, checking messages. But I wasn't really there. I wasn't enjoying the warmth, the flavor, or the stillness it could offer. Now I make it a practice. I pour my cup slowly. I sit with it. I hold it in both hands. I breathe. It's not just a drink. It's a pause, a reset, a gentle reminder that I deserve to start my day slowly, that I don't need to rush to be worthy. If I'm having coffee, I choose a mug that feels good in my hands, one that reminds me of a place, a person, or a memory. If I'm making tea, I take the time to watch it steep. I notice the color, the steam, the scent. All of it slows me down in the best way. I often sit by a window. Sometimes I journal. Sometimes I pray. Sometimes I just stare at the trees or the sky and let myself be. No pressure to think deep thoughts or solve big problems, just being. For many women, especially those who have spent their lives caring for others, taking time for ourselves can feel unfamiliar, even selfish. But it's not. It's essential. These quiet moments are not indulgent. They're restorative. They remind us of who we are, underneath the noise. And here's the beautiful part. This doesn't take an hour. 5 minutes is enough. Even 3. What matters is that you're present, that you're not gulping and rushing, but sipping and resting. So tomorrow, when you reach for that first warm cup, try treating it like an offering to yourself. Sit with it. Taste it. Let it hold you for a while before the world begins calling. You've earned that peace. You've always deserved it. 7. Nourish gently with protein and joy. Breakfast used to feel like an afterthought to me. Just something I grabbed out of habit. A piece of toast, maybe a banana, or on some days, just a cup of coffee and nothing more. But as the years have gone by, I've come to realize how deeply important this first meal is, not just for energy, but for mood, clarity, and even a sense of self-care. For women in our later years, our bodies have different needs. We don't process food quite the same way we used to, and that's perfectly natural. But one thing we do need, often more than we realize, is protein. A good source of protein in the morning can help keep our blood sugar steady, our minds sharper, and our energy levels more stable throughout the day. My go-to is a simple omelet or scrambled eggs with spinach, mushrooms, and a sprinkle of cheese. It's warm, comforting, and keeps me full without feeling heavy. Some mornings I'll have Greek yogurt with berries and a few almonds, or cottage cheese with sliced peaches. The key is to choose something you enjoy, something that nourishes both body and spirit. Eating breakfast is not about following rules. It's about listening to what feels good, what gives you strength, and what helps you move through the day with more ease. And here's something I've learned. Preparing food for yourself, even in the simplest way, is an act of love. When you take the time to slice, to stir, to plate your meal thoughtfully, you're telling yourself, I matter, my health matters, my well-being is worth tending to. You don't need to cook a big feast. You just need to show up to the table, sit down, eat slowly, and savor. Let it be a moment of calm instead of a rush toward the next task. If you haven't had much appetite in the morning, start small. A boiled egg. A spoonful of nut butter with apple slices. Gradually, you'll find what works best for your body. Breakfast is not just fuel, it's a gentle anchor. It reminds you that caring for yourself is not a luxury. It is a quiet promise to face the day with strength and grace. 8. Simple movement or gentle walk. One of the most precious gifts we can give ourselves each morning is the gift of movement. Not the kind that pushes or punishes, but the kind that invites us back into our bodies with compassion. You don't have to run, lift weights, or break a sweat. In fact, for many of us, especially as we grow older, movement becomes more about sustainability than intensity. It's about keeping our joints fluid, our balance steady, and our spirits lifted. My favorite way to move in the morning is a short, quiet walk around the neighborhood. 10 or 15 minutes is often enough. I walk at a pace that feels good, not fast. I notice the trees, the flowers, the people I might pass. Sometimes I say hello. Sometimes I simply walk in silence, hearing my footsteps on the sidewalk. If the weather isn't friendly, I might do a few movements inside. Some seated stretches. Arm circles. Gentle squats holding onto the kitchen counter. A few balance poses while brushing my teeth. These may sound small, but over time, they make a huge difference. Movement in the morning helps loosen the stiffness. It encourages circulation. And perhaps, most importantly, it tells your body, I'm still here. I'm still in motion. There's also a mental benefit. Walking or moving clears the fog from my mind. It creates space for new thoughts, or sometimes no thoughts at all. Just breath, just steps, just presence. We often underestimate what gentle, consistent motion can do, but ask any doctor, and they'll tell you, movement is medicine. It helps prevent falls, keeps muscles strong, supports healthy digestion, and can even lift depression. But I'll tell you what it really does for me. It reminds me that I'm capable, that I'm alive, that I can greet the day on my own 2 feet, even if they're a little slower than they used to be. So whether it's walking to the mailbox, strolling down the street, or stretching beside your bed, try to include a little movement in your morning. Not for calories, not for looks. For you, for your health, for your joy. 9. Do one meaningful task while your mind is fresh. There's a special kind of clarity that comes in the early hours, before the phone starts ringing, before the news starts talking, before the world begins asking things from you. In those quiet morning moments, our minds are often at their clearest. Our thoughts are less crowded. Our focus is sharper. And that's exactly why this next habit is so important. After I've nourished my body and moved a little, I try to do one meaningful task. Just one. Something that speaks to who I am, not just what needs to be done. It might be writing a few pages in my journal. It might be working on a quilt. Sometimes it's organizing photos or recording voice messages for my grandchildren. Other days, it's as simple as watering the garden with full attention. The point is not to be busy. The point is to begin your day with purpose, to offer your best energy, your clearest thinking, your fullest heart, to something that matters to you. This isn't the time for errands or chores. This is the sacred space of your morning, the gold, as I like to call it. So use it wisely. Many people say, I'll do it later. But as the day goes on, our energy fades. Distractions multiply, and what matters most often gets pushed aside. But when we give it that early moment, just 30 minutes of undivided focus, we walk into the rest of our day already fulfilled, already connected to something deeper than the grocery list. And here's the truth. Your meaningful task doesn't have to be big. What matters is that it feels true, that it belongs to you, something that reflects your curiosity, your creativity, your kindness, or your wisdom. Even just sitting down to plan a trip you've been dreaming of, or starting a letter to a friend you've lost touch with, that can be your task. So tomorrow, as you feel that early clarity settle in, ask yourself, what would bring me a quiet sense of joy if I gave it my focus right now? Then do that thing, and let it ground you for the rest of the day. You deserve that moment. You've earned that peace. 10. Reach out to someone. Create connection before the world gets busy. One of the most healing things I've learned over the years is this. We are not meant to live in isolation. As much as we value our peace and our quiet moments, the human heart still longs for connection. And for many of us, especially in this stage of life, that connection can feel a little harder to come by than it once did. That's why I try to reach out to someone every morning, before the world gets too noisy, before schedules fill up, before the mood of the day is decided by headlines or chores. Just one person, just one simple act of reaching. Sometimes it's a phone call to a friend I haven't spoken to in a while. Other times it's a voice message to my daughter, or a quick text to a neighbor letting her know I'm thinking of her. And on certain mornings, it's writing a card. Yes, an old-fashioned handwritten note, and putting it in the mail. There's something deeply grounding about beginning the day with a gesture of kindness. It reminds me that no matter what else happens today, I've already contributed something good to the world, something thoughtful, something human. We often underestimate how powerful these little gestures are, not just for the person receiving them, but for us too. Reaching out doesn't have to be heavy or long. It just needs to be real, authentic, warm, and it's not always about others either. Sometimes the person we need to reach out to most is ourselves. If there's no one on your mind today, that's okay. Then maybe this is a morning to reconnect with you. Write yourself a note. Look at an old photo and remember a time you felt joyful, bold, or proud. Maybe even say out loud, "I'm still here. I still matter." There are many kinds of connection: spiritual, emotional, relational. All of them feed the soul in different ways. Some mornings, my reach out moment is a prayer. A few quiet words sent up to something greater than me. Sometimes I light a candle, sit for a moment, and imagine sending light to someone who needs it. These small rituals connect me to the unseen parts of life, the ones that matter most. In a world that often feels rushed and disconnected, this habit helps me stay rooted in what's real. It's easy to drift into loneliness, even in a busy world. But with just a few words, a little intention, and an open heart, we can rebuild those bridges, one morning at a time. So tomorrow, after your water, your breakfast, your stretch, and your sun, pause for a moment and ask, who could use a little love today? Then take one small step toward them. And if you're not sure who to call, let me remind you, you are never too old, too quiet, or too far away to matter deeply in someone's day. Start with a whisper of kindness, and let that be the thread that weaves your morning into something beautiful. The morning is yours. So here we are, my friend. We've walked together through 10 gentle steps, 10 ways to greet the morning with more calm, more joy, and more intention. And I want you to know, if you only try one of them, if you only begin with the smallest shift, that is still something beautiful. That is still something meaningful. This isn't a checklist. This isn't another routine to perfect. This is an invitation, an offering, a reminder that mornings do not belong only to the young or the busy or the productive. Mornings belong to you too, no matter your age, no matter your pace. You have spent so much of your life giving, caring for others, solving problems, keeping things together when no one else could see the weight you carried. But this chapter of life, this is your time to receive, to rest, to reconnect with your own rhythms, to honor the wisdom you've earned and the quiet joy you still hold. Maybe your mornings won't look exactly like mine. That's okay. Maybe you need more stillness. Maybe you want more music, more prayer, more movement, more silence. You know yourself better than anyone else ever could. Trust that. All I hope is that something from our time together reminded you, your presence matters. Your peace matters. You don't have to rush into the day. You don't have to fix or prove or produce anything to be worthy. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is simply begin with love, toward ourselves, toward the world, and toward whatever is unfolding in front of us. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, take a moment, breathe, smile, pour that warm cup, step into the light, write something honest, move gently, call someone you care about, or simply sit with your hand over your heart and whisper, "Today, I begin with grace." And if this video brought you comfort or clarity, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what part of your morning feels sacred to you? What small habit brings you joy? I read every message, and I treasure the community we're building here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll join us. We're just getting started, and there's so much more wisdom to share together. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. The morning is yours. The day is still young. And you, my dear, are still shining.